So I don't use AI for any of the artwork that I use for the show. Instead, I do photo bashing. I also have this right here, which is something that I created using Magic Poser on my iPad, and then brought that model into Procreate, where I just sort of did a rough coloring and sketch of their outfits and their skin tones, things like that. And obviously it's not photorealistic because it's not supposed to be. The idea is to create a general shape and idea of what I want these characters to look like. I purposefully did not show their faces because I would like our audiences to headcanon them the way that they would like to. This particular character design is from a little bit of fan art that Margarita did for us back when we were initially still recording before the show even came out. So this is based on her design. So as I go through here, I layered in all of my scenes the way that I want them to look, keeping in mind that each layer is going to be separated based on how I want to animate them later. We're going to do some really cool effects to them that give them that signature like comic book style that I use for all of our artwork. And it's super simple. We just go into the Photoshop filters and we're going to do two things. We're going to use our cutout and we're going to use the stamp. And those two are kind of what give it its look. And then after that, it's just a matter of picking the right blending mode and then layering the scenes together so we can bring that into After Effects. Okay, so my computer kind of ran out of space while I was trying to record this part, so it didn't actually record, so I'm just going to walk you through what I did. After Photoshop, I brought all of my layers into Adobe After Effects because that's primarily where I create all of my animations for the show. So, I've got two compositions here. One is my background, which is just the water. So you can see I've divided them all up based on what's in the scene. So, of course, our poles are right there. They sit above the water itself. And it's just a locked layer because we don't need it to move. We don't need it to do anything. It's just going to be there. Same thing as these backgrounds here. They're locked because we don't want them to move. So let's start off with our water layer. So our water layer, you'll notice, does move. And it is a super simple, super easy thing to do. It is right here under Animation Presets, your Image Creative, and then scroll all the way down to your hand-drawn effect. I find that is the perfect one for water because it gives the right amount of movement with the least amount of effort that I'm going to spend in After Effects. Once you drag and drop onto your layer, it brings up this right here, and here's where you can change up all of your settings so it can look exactly the way you want it to. With that, I'm just going to turn this off so I can show you the other layers. I put my background into two different layers, so I'm going to turn off this right here. So this right here is because I just wanted to mask out the sky. And the easiest way for me to do that was to mask out the water layer and leave about like a 400% pixel feather on this so that it sort of blends seamlessly with the background itself. So you notice there's no movement here. That's super okay. That's exactly what we were looking for. And that is just going to be layered right on top of our sky right here. So this sky right here has the amorphous lighting. That is also found same menu right here. And when you drag and drop, so now that I'm back in my main comp, you can see that our background is just this. Let me turn this. Our background is just this, so it plays as is. And we've got Mighty Soul and Elena right on top right here. So I wanted to make sure that they were partially moving in the scene. It's not a lot, but the subtle movement brings a little bit of extra life into the scene itself. Then I went ahead I added a color balance to each of these two layers to sort of match the scene. This is not normally how I do my color correction when I'm working on other videos and other projects. This is just something that I found works for me in this particular project. It's fast, it's easy, and I spend as little time in After Effects as possible. Alright, now that we've got our scene exported, we're going to bring that into Premiere right here. I'm just going to pop that into my footage folder just so that I've got it. And we're going to bring that into the scene. Alright, right about here is a good place, so I'm just going to trim that, bring this in. Alright, because I have Motion Array, I have a bunch of different transitions, but this is the one that we're going to use right here. Just going to drag and drop that on, and this is what it looks like.
This is going to be amazing! A little bit of this.
Alright, so this is not actually how I want the scene to play. I'm just going to go ahead, drag in another clip that I am planning on using, and then we'll get to the rest. So that's basically the gist of it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to finish out the rest of these visuals, wrap up editing this episode so that by the time that this particular video is out, this current episode is out and you have listened to it already. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this little behind the scenes look, and I hope you enjoyed it. Paalam!